It's really funny how a 6-inch by 6-inch cube that is literally outdated in terms of hardware, we have seen the internet lose its collective mind over the past couple of days about the GameCube, or even the Steam Machine if you want to call it that. The thing is though, this little box has turned everybody on their head, and it's really made massive waves across the gaming industry. Not only because we now have fanboys screeching, clawing, and screaming at PlayStation to remove their games from Steam. No, I'm not kidding, that's one thing going on. But we're also seeing how the entire gaming industry is finally recognizing how large the PC gaming market actually is, what they actually entail, and what's going to be happening for other major conglomerates who really in the past never behaved the right way towards their customers and consumers. Things are getting weird. And in the good way, too. Now, there's going to be a lot to cover today, but one thing specifically I want to talk about is an interview with Strauss Zelnick and CNBC. If you don't know who Strauss Zelnick is, he's the CEO of Take-Two, you know, that company that makes GTA 6. Yeah, that one. In fact, here's what Strauss had to say in the article headline. Take-Two CEO says consoles aren't going away, but gaming is moving towards PCs. With the article saying Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick said on Monday that although gaming consoles are not going away, the industry is moving towards PC in the next decade. Saying, quote, "I think it's moving towards PC and business is moving towards open rather than closed," Zelnick told CNBC's Squawk Box. But if you define console as the property, not the system, then the notion of a very rich game that you engage in for many hours that you play on a big screen, that's never going away. So it looks like if you're a fan of consoles, that's still going to be available to you. But I feel like what's going to be happening in the future, and I think Strauss Zelnick in fact agrees, is you're going to be seeing consoles become far more PC-like in their nature. We're no longer talking about closed ecosystems. We're talking about direct open platforms that allow you to take and move your games and gameplay across multiple devices. Gee, it's almost like there was some guy who's been talking about the platform wars for the last, 6 to 8 months, maybe even longer, on a specific channel that you're probably watching right now. Yeah, that's me. It's gonna be happening quite quickly and faster than people actually believe, because it turns out Microsoft may even be taking pages out of Valve's own playbook, and that's gonna be the wild thing to see. According to Hazardor Gaming, Microsoft drops NDAs and publishes Xbox Game Publishing Guide public, NDA-free and accessible to everyone. Makes planning and launching games on Xbox consoles and PC easier for indie developers. This is absolutely massive. One of the big problems that the Xbox Series consoles have had were many games simply not available on that platform. You would see games being on PlayStation and on Nintendo Switch, but for some reason skipping the Xbox consoles. And every fanboy under the sun would say, oh, you don't sell enough units, or maybe it's because of this, or Xbox stench that we saw consistently. But it looks like Microsoft is in fact taking the right playbook from Steam and copying Valve's idea, being more open and being more available for developers and for customers as well. Even though we've talked about how Microsoft has been, in my personal opinion, completely screwing a lot of things up with their pricing and structures of Game Pass and etc., this could be a good start for the company that tried to tie you with Windows Live. Remember that? Remember Windows Live? That was a whole experience back in PC gaming. That was definitely not a good time. But it's really interesting to see how this one company who's been so restrictive over their OS, been so restrictive over their consoles and hardware, now doing the opposite approach, trying to garner more goodwill towards developers and even users as well. In fact, Jez Corden wrote about that on Windows Central, and here's what he had to say. Microsoft drops NDAs and publishes Xbox Game Publishing Guide, a massive step forward, a more open, Steam-like ecosystem for game developers. Microsoft is taking a page from Steam. The Xbox Game Publishing Guide is now public, NDA-free, and accessible to everyone. This makes planning and launching games on Xbox consoles and PC easier than ever for indie devs. with the article saying, quote, Microsoft revealed today that it is making its publishing criteria public for the first time since its inception over 2 decades ago. The new Xbox Game Publishing Guide will offer developers a variety of information about how publishing on Xbox works, all without the NDAs and embargoes of yesteryear. Now, this is honestly insane. Having Microsoft, a company who has been pretty much silent on trying to help out other developers and publishers put their games onto their platform or even try to work towards Windows, go completely 180 and say, you know what? No, we're just going to put all the information out for anybody to want to do that and plug it right there for anybody who wants to put their game on our platform. And that's going to be the smart thing to do. We've talked about how Steam has been trying to get that market share from Windows to move over to Linux and use SteamOS. And once SteamOS releases completely, those Windows 10 users have 2 specific choices. Either A, stay on Windows, or B, move to SteamOS, seeing as how Windows 10 is no longer supported by Microsoft. And this is the play where I think Microsoft can really make some good headway overall. We've talked about how their Windows operating system really doesn't bode very well for gaming specifically. I've talked about how on my ROG Ally X, it turns out that Windows is what gets in my way most of the time, and how when I'm using the full screen experience, I'd rather just go ahead and use Steam Big Picture mode instead, mostly because of how the UI is structured and the control you have with Steam specifically. That's huge if Microsoft begins taking the right steps to fixing those problems, and even then providing a better overall way of publishing games onto that Xbox platform, or even, dare I say, Windows gaming platform. But you see, Microsoft has a lot to catch up on. If you take a look at SteamDB, you can clearly see the amount of games released on Steam's store page ever since Project Greenlight began. And that is a hell of a lot of games. In fact, just this year alone, you saw 17,000 games release onto Steam. Back in 2024, you saw 18,000 games release onto Steam. Why is this a factor? Well, mostly because if someone says, I want to get a game on PC, the one place you go to is in fact Steam. And no matter what kind of CEO tries to tell you, no, that does not make them a monopoly. Steam has gone around and garnered massive amounts of player trust and has banked that player trust over 2 decades of work being done for it. Remember, when Half-Life 2 came out for Steam, requiring Steam to be used, nobody liked it. We all had boxed games back then. And now Steam had to turn around and convince a lot of its users and all those other PC gamers like myself why they should in fact put their money into Steam in the first place to buy their games. And they've earned that trust over that amount of time. Microsoft has a massive amount of an uphill battle to climb on that exact same thing. And they can't be doing things like increasing the pricing of their consoles or their services or their games, trying to cash in what little player trust they've actually accrued and turning around and spending it directly. What Microsoft has to do is prove to everybody why they should rather buy their game on the Xbox app and the Xbox platform rather than trying to buy it on Steam. And that's going to be the hard thing to convince, but this is going to be a good first step for proper platform competition in this space, since Microsoft did in fact remove every single NDA on how to publish a game onto Xbox. Microsoft says that improving access to its documentation allows people to plan, learn, and research processes around Xbox console and Xbox PC development without the headaches of signing up and getting approved access. The more open approach should also lead to an upswing in content on sites like YouTube, as others help relay information as part of their educational content plans. Microsoft says its public documentations for Xbox publishing will be updated in perpetuity to ensure that everyone has the most current rule sets. The most recent updates includes onboarding info, wish listing details, pre-orders, and release configuration guidance, Xbox Insider Program and game preview systems, and new test services. This is an absolute complete 180 on what we've normally seen with Microsoft from the beginning. How many times have you seen online that the only way that people can actually get approval from Microsoft or even get notified of having their game being placed on the Xbox platform is when they make up a stink on Twitter or online? We've seen this happen over and over again, where so many people are saying, I want to put my game on there, but at the moment, nobody's reached out to me. My contact at Xbox isn't reaching out to me. No one is talking about this. How do we get our game on there. Microsoft doing a very Valve-like approach and releasing all that guidance on the actual internet without any NDA whatsoever, not only giving a peek internally for developers, but also giving access to a lot of indie devs, very small 1 or 2 person teams, to go ahead and put their game onto that platform for more people to go ahead and purchase. You're talking about a true competitor towards Steam now, a true set of competition and guidance layers for developers and consumers to have access to more games on multiple storefronts and in fact platforms. This is great for people who are already heavily invested into the Xbox ecosystem that are going to go ahead and say, hey, I want to buy this on that Xbox platform because that's where I mostly play. And sure, that makes a whole lot of sense. People really don't want to switch between different storefronts, and I get that. I don't want to leave Steam because Steam treats me the best as a customer and consumer. But at the same time, I'm also someone who double backs and will rebuy the game on GOG as well to have a DRM-free version of that game when it's released on that platform too. You see, it's all about providing that proper set of competition for users in the first place. And if games like Schedule 1 or even Ball Pit or so many other games like Megabonk that came out on Steam specifically and aren't anywhere else, having that guidance available for those indie devs to put onto the Xbox PC platform for next gen is going to be a good thing overall, because now those users, those 30 million users on just the console space and even everywhere else, now have access to those games too next generation once it becomes a hybrid console PC, which really is going to be insane to watch. Now, speaking of next generation, it turns out that there's been a lot of chutzpah and rumors going around that Xbox will in fact no longer be making hardware. Well, it turns out that Sarah Bond had to go make a statement about that yesterday as well. According to Hazardor Gaming on Twitter, Xbox President Sarah Bond says hardware is absolutely core to everything we do at Xbox. Next-gen Xbox will be, quote, a powerful experience that also enables people to take their library with them across PC and cloud, etc. Now, do you remember in the beginning of the video when we talked about how Strauss Zelnick said the future of gaming is going to be more PC-like and more open? This is exactly the way that Microsoft has been looking towards things. And if they go through and they take pages from Valve software and they look and see what Valve has been doing specifically with earning that entire user base of trust and banking it instead of spending it, you could see a very different Xbox next generation. Hell, you're even seeing the beginning of that change right now, putting all their games across every platform, making you sign into that user experience. And then with the next gen Xbox going around and saying, hey, we're going to let you take your games no matter where you are with you across every single device and be a powerful experience overall. Because the first thing people said was, well, if you're going to go ahead and give me access to Windows, I'm just going to use that specifically and get every game on Steam and on the Xbox PC app, take that with me wherever I go, using 2 specific platforms. And if you look at the size of the actual PC user base, you can clearly see how that is going to be a massive amount of monthly active users available for use on the Windows platform, even if they go through and still use Steam at the same exact time. In fact, here's what Sarah Bond said in the video herself.
Hardware is absolutely core to everything that we do at Xbox, because we know that our most valuable players, the people who love Xbox, love the hardware experience. And so that is why we are working on our next generation hardware. It's going to be a powerful experience and one that also enables people to take their library with them. And that's what's really important here as well, is that we know that while people want to play their library absolutely on the console, they also want to be able to play it on PC or stream it around the cloud. And so the Xbox experience starts with the console, but then gives something to people that they can experience across all screens if they choose to, bringing their library, their community, their identity, and the store with them everywhere they go.
Now that is incredibly interesting, but I think the word powerful is in fact being misused. I don't think we're talking about the power of the actual console itself. I think what Sarah Bond is talking about is the power of being able to move yourself and your entire gaming library with you across multiple devices, no matter what platform or place you prefer to play on, whether it's Steam and you buy an Xbox game there and you sign into Xbox through that Steam storefront, whether it's Xbox themselves themselves and you go ahead and buy everything the Xbox PC app, or still use the Windows platform to buy games off of Steam. They still count you as an MAU there, or even on PlayStation at the same time, where you still have to sign in to Xbox when you're playing a PlayStation game, or even then buying an Xbox game on your PS5. We saw how Forza Horizon 5 did on PlayStation, basically showing people are sure as shit willing to play Xbox games, but they sure as fuck don't want to buy an Xbox console, apparently. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. People are in fact stuck in what they want to be in terms of digital ownership, or even where they are, where their platform is, or where they decided to put their money into where they buy their games. Myself, Steam and GOG. I'm not going to buy games anywhere else. It doesn't matter how many times Epic Games tries to lock away content and titles through exclusivity on that storefront. I'm not going to buy that game until it lands on Steam. Sorry, that's just how things go. Epic has to earn that trust from me as a consumer, and clearly they haven't done shit all for it. It doesn't matter how many free games they give out. Literally, that entire thing is nothing more than a Fortnite launcher to me, and they've done nothing for the consumer experience overall. And I think that's exactly what's happening right now. When Xbox said they lost the worst generation to lose, that's exactly what they meant. People have been heavily putting money into where they're buying their games digitally, and they clearly feel connected to it in some form of like investment, as if that's really what it is, even though those games can be removed from you at any given time, no matter the actual outcome or cost. That's the thing people are looking at, though. It's very hard to move away from one library to another rather than trying to go through and say, well, you know what? You're not going to move from there. We might as well go to you. That's what Valve is doing with the Steam machine. Do you want a PC in the living room? They got it. Do you want a handheld device? They got it. Do you want VR? They got it. And on top of that, having everything available to you on that Steam platform. Xbox is doing the exact same thing, taking direct pages out of Valve, and hopefully they take the right ones. Because one of the things people talked about the most is, well, if the next Xbox can play PC games, then why would I even buy a PlayStation? And that made a lot of people very angry. According to PlayStation Universe, a rumor going around saying that Sony is reportedly, quote, pulling back from PC for major single-player games, live service games to remain day and date. Now, over the weekend, we have seen multiple crash outs, prayer circles, and everything you could possibly imagine by sacrificing a goat for this to in fact be true, even though it was debunked by Jez Corden just a few moments later. Jez speaking on his own in a podcast and talking about what he thinks will happen and what he would like to see happen rather than what is actually happening, proving once again that PlayStation literally is going to do whatever they can and copy everybody else in that place. And you're seeing it again from Strauss Zelnick in the beginning. You're going to see gaming become far more open, with all the rumors we've seen going around as well of PlayStation having that cross-buy, cross-ownership functionality, with PC ports getting closer and closer to day and date. It was 4 years, then 2, then 1, now it's going to be 6 to 8 months, and even then with Nixxes working again with House Marquee on Soros. What does Nixxes do? They do PC ports. That's their entire bag. PlayStation purposely bought an entire studio devoted specifically to porting games to PC. And for them not to use that would be a ridiculously fool's errand. The fact that they still have Marathon and Fair Games coming out basically goes to show they're more than willing to piss money away. And it's even been stated as well that PlayStation PC ports are literally a just license to print money. So to put that away in any sense of the word would be incredibly moronic to do. And I don't see this happening overall. In fact, I see this ramping up. PlayStation doesn't care where you buy their game. What they care about is as long as that game sells. And that's really the entire aspect of all of this. You could talk about my console sales, my console sales, my console sales, but what's truly important isn't that. It's the fact that they are moving to a platform, and that's how it's going to be. I can right now use the PS Plus app on my PC and stream most of those games directly onto my platform of choice, the personal computer. And that's going to be interesting to see as well, because the Portal can now do that same thing too. But we've also seen this happen as well. You can claim it's just live service games, but I feel like that is massive amounts of copium, mostly because we saw what happened with Helldivers 2 and PlayStation after that financial report. Take a look. According to Hazardor Gaming on Twitter as well, Helldivers 2 Xbox port helped increase engagement as well as boosted PS5 PC player figures. Doing extremely well, this resulted in a significant increase in the sales of the title year on year. Now, I know people are going to say, Alex, that's a live service game. That negates your argument entirely. No, it actually doesn't. You see, a live service game, regardless of whatever is happening, is a game published by PlayStation with that IP there put on a rival competitor's platform. They're looking at the amount of sales happening and how it increases their overall revenue and profit quarter over quarter, month over month, title over title. And that was their first test bed. Helldivers 2 is literally PlayStation's Just 4 games. And if you don't think more are coming to other platforms, you're going to be going up a creek without a paddle. With console gaming becoming more like PC gaming and platforms becoming more open and the space moving into the platform wars, you're going to be seeing a lot of things change over time, and dare I say even very quickly as well. And with Xbox and Steam leading the charge in this direction, you could see other companies move into that same direction as well. What I think is going to be happening is you're going to see PlayStation sit on the sidelines and watch the entire thing play out between Xbox and Valve, and seeing how that turns out between the both of them, and then seeing PlayStation walk right behind and just do the exact same moves except avoid whatever mistakes happen between that two in the first place. And then you're going to go ahead and say, well, PlayStation really does just copy everybody in the industry. But even then, with all of that, you can clearly see that the platform wars are coming, and consoles being more open and the death of exclusivity could be a major factor overall, where you're not going to be seeing games compete with each other directly, and not because they want to sell you consoles, but because they want you to log into their platform and use their ecosystem as a monthly active user. That's where gaming is going to go. And whether or not this is a good thing, I honestly have no clue. But what I will say is this: you're going to be seeing actual competition in the gaming space. Not competition in terms of trying to lock away content behind a $500 to $700 box. No, you're going to see competition between things like, how do we keep players engaged in the video game? How do we go ahead and keep players buying our game instead of buying the competitor's game? How do we keep players engaged in our platform and purchasing products there rather than using anything else like Steam or Xbox or PSN? That's what you're going to be seeing. Could a lot of bad come from this? Absolutely. Dark patterns are a massive problem in the gaming industry, and you could even see a bigger live service push than what you're normally seeing right now. But this could also be a good thing overall as well. It's just going to be, in my opinion, an entire wait and see approach. But I am very excited to see Xbox take pages out of Valve and take notes from them and see what's going on and move to a more open platform, thereby possibly making even Windows a better place for PC gaming. But I'm not going to hold my breath. We'll see what happens. Hopefully Valve will put some batteries in the back of Microsoft and things can get good for everybody. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comments section down below. Are you excited about Xbox taking a page out of Steam's playbook and being more open with their NDA and letting more developers onto their platform? Do you think the new idea of being an open platform is even better for Microsoft too? Or do you think this is just going to be a fart in the wind? I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, my hot takes in the gaming industry, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 98K. I'm at a loss. I'm shocked. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I never thought the channel would get this big ever at all. So if you want to see more, subscribe. It really does mean the world to me. If you want Discord access or remote streaming live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't sweat it. Just show up Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on this channel as I wear a banana suit and get insulted by 800 people with AITTS. Trust me, it's a hell of a show. You don't want to miss it. Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. With all that being said though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!